Hello and bienvenidos to Life's Questions and Lessons, the Self Reflection Podcast. I am your host, Charity Youngblood, and I am so grateful that you are here with me today. Let's get started with today's question. What is self reflection and why should you care about it? What is self reflection and why should you care about it? So, we are celebrating 2 years into this podcast. And I say we because I'm thinking of me and you as a listener. So, we are celebrating because this has honestly been a journey for me as much as I hope it's been a journey for you. I'm definitely serving as a guide on some of these concepts and ideas and this whole teaching of how to implement self reflection into your life. But I'm also walking right alongside you on some of this stuff, trying to figure it out. So, I recently wrote an article with the exact same title for this episode for LinkedIn. And I realized that I probably should have did this for the podcast many moons ago when we first started. But what I really enjoyed about that particular article is I wasn't really defining what self reflection is for me, right? I mean, I can definitely give what it serves, its intention and its purpose, etc. I really think of self reflection as asking yourself the right questions. It's really that simple and that complex. Um, but the point of self reflection and why you should also care about it and why I'm so passionate about teaching it is because it's really at the root of any growth that you're trying to experience, literally any growth. Decision making, right? Making value aligned decisions, and ultimately creating the life that you actually want to live. So many of us feel like we don't have choices. And I'm not talking about those of us who actually don't have choices. Like you live in a country where, you probably aren't even allowed to listen to me. That's not who I'm referring to. I'm talking about those of us in the Western world who are not under the thumb of anyone. We're able to get an education, we're able to get a job, we're able to support ourselves. And sometimes it really does feel like we don't have a choice in the type of job that we have, in the type of relationship that we're in the day-to-day workings of our emotions, right? The thoughts that go through our minds. And one thing that has really helped me through this work is understanding that we absolutely have a choice in everything. There are some things that may be beyond our control, where there's other variables, but you always, always, always have a choice. So I really encourage you to explore this question in whatever way works best for you and really think about what self reflection means to you. I know I gave you my definition, but another piece of the why you should care about it is really think about if you've been on this journey for the past 2 years of this podcast, or you've been following my work on workshops or anything like that. See what it's done for you. When you ask yourself a question and the insights come through, whether they're insights you want to hear or not, really think about what role that has played in your life. We just recently had an episode where I was talking about taking imperfect action. And when you take imperfect action, sometimes there's resistance to even, do the thing, whatever it is. Understanding where that resistance is coming from. Insights like you go through seasons, and those seasons can be a day, they can be an hour, they can be a month, but there are, certain ways that you interact with the world, right? Whether that's emotionally or mentally. And sometimes we'll say things like, I'm feeling more in the flow today versus I'm not. And understanding that that's all a part of your journey. At the core, that is self reflection is responsible for understanding all of that, is my point. When you really stop and pause and reflect on where you are in any given moment in time, in any given element of your life, that is self reflection and is extremely powerful. So for some deeper reflection, I did add the article that I wrote in LinkedIn as a bit of a helper. And if you're still not convinced on the power of self reflection, I also linked the Harvard Business Review article as well. Because if you don't trust me, I know you trust Harvard. So, as always, thank you so much for listening. Please rate and review this podcast wherever you're listening to my words. And if this episode has been helpful for you, please share it. And until next time, take care.